As we move into our later years, many of us start to notice small changes in our vision. Reading in the evening becomes harder. The glare of headlights makes night driving less comfortable, and sometimes even the faces of loved ones don't appear as sharp as they once did. These changes usually happen slowly, almost without us realizing, until one day we see just how much it affects our freedom and our daily comfort. In my more than 30 years of working in health and wellness with older adults, I've heard this concern countless times. Fading eyesight doesn't just interfere with hobbies like reading the newspaper or enjoying a book. It can also affect confidence, independence, and the simple pleasures that make life enjoyable. Here's what I want you to remember. This isn't your fault. Our eyes age just like the rest of the body. But the good news is there are simple, practical ways to support healthier vision. And some of the most effective tools are already sitting in your kitchen. So I invite you to watch all the way through, because the last vegetable I'll talk about is one most people ignore. Yet it may be the one that helps your eyes the most. And if this information is helpful, I'd love for you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more practical health tips for living well as we age. Most importantly, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments how vision changes have touched your life. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs. Let's start with the first one, carrots. We've all heard the old saying, carrots are good for your eyes. For many, it sounds like something parents tell their kids just to get them to eat their vegetables. But science shows it's absolutely true, especially for aging eyes that struggle to see clearly at night. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, the natural pigment that gives them their bright orange color. Once inside the body, the liver converts beta-carotene into vitamin A. This vitamin is essential for producing rhodopsin, a protein found in the retina's rod cells that allows the eyes to adjust in low light. Without enough vitamin A, the eyes can't regenerate rhodopsin properly. The result is poor night vision, sensitivity to glare from headlights, and that uneasy feeling whenever you're driving after sunset. But here's the part many people overlook. Simply eating raw carrots isn't the best way to get these benefits. Beta-carotene is fat-soluble, which means your body needs fat to absorb it. It also becomes more available when carrots are lightly cooked. Cooking breaks down the fibers and unlocks the nutrients, while healthy fats act as the vehicle that delivers vitamin into your system. That's why roasted carrots with olive oil or a warm bowl of carrot soup with a touch of butter can be far more effective than snacking on raw carrot sticks. Timing matters, too. Evening is when the body does much of its natural repair work, including in the eyes. Eating cooked carrots with a bit of fat at dinner provides vitamin A right when your eyes are ready to use it most. I think back to a gentleman I worked with named Harold Thompson, 72 years old. For years, he dreaded driving at night because he couldn't make out house numbers or street signs. He told me the strain often left him with headaches. I suggested a simple change. 3 times a week, add roasted carrots drizzled with olive oil and a sprinkle of sea salt to his dinner. 6 weeks later, Mr. Thompson returned with a smile on his face. He said, "For the first time in years, I drove at night without squinting. The street signs were clear. It felt like someone had cleaned the windshield inside my head." Harold Thompson's story isn't a miracle. It's proof of what real food can do. No expensive treatments, no miracle pills. Just everyday nutrition, used the right way to bring real benefits. That's the power of simple meals, real food, real improvement, and the return of real freedom. Sometimes, the smallest change on your plate can make the biggest difference in how you see the world. Now let's move on to the second one, broccoli. If carrots help you see more clearly in the dark, broccoli plays a different role. It helps protect the fragile structure of your eyes from a hidden threat: chronic, silent inflammation. When most people hear the word inflammation, they think about swollen joints or sore muscles. But inside the eyes, inflammation can quietly do damage without obvious pain. It harms tiny blood vessels, weakens retinal cells, and over time, slowly steals away sharp vision. That's where broccoli comes in. This vegetable is unique because it combines natural antioxidants with anti-inflammatory compounds, making it a double shield for your eyes. Its deep green florets are packed with lutein and zeaxanthin, nutrients that the body delivers directly to the macula, the very center of the retina. The macula is what allows you to read, recognize faces, and focus on fine details. You can think of the macula as the camera lens of your eyes. Over time, it can be worn down by exposure to light, oxidative stress, and free radicals. This is when age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, may begin. Vision straight ahead becomes blurry, lines look wavy, or dark spots may block the very center of your sight. The good news is lutein and zeaxanthin in broccoli can help slow down this process, and in some cases, even support the repair of weak retinal tissue if they are absorbed the right way. Raw broccoli holds these nutrients tightly inside its fibers, but when it's lightly steamed until just tender, the cell walls break open and release them, making it easier for the body to use. Since they are fat-soluble, pairing broccoli with a little olive oil or even a sprinkle of cheese makes absorption even stronger. I remember one of my patients, Gloria Martinez, 68 years old. She told me, "I used to love reading novels, but now the words just slip off the page." Instead of telling her to give up, we made a small change, adding half a cup of steamed broccoli to her dinner a few times a week. A month later, Gloria came back with a different outlook. She wasn't diving into long novels yet, but she could comfortably read her letters without squinting. The smile on her face said it all. For her, that small change marked the beginning of healing. Gloria's story reminds us that nutrition doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest foods, prepared the right way, can make a meaningful difference. Broccoli may look ordinary, but when it comes to protecting your eyesight, it's one of nature's quiet heroes. Now let's move on to the third one, kale. Among all the vegetables that support vision, kale quietly takes the top spot. On the outside, it may look like just another tough, dark green leaf, but inside it carries some of the most concentrated nutrients for eye health, especially valuable for anyone facing the biggest threat to vision in later years: age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. AMD is not just about blurry vision. It's the gradual breakdown of the macula, the very center of the retina that gives us sharp, focused sight. When the macula weakens, it's not only your vision that declines, but also your quality of life. Reading becomes exhausting, faces lose their clarity, and even something as simple as pouring a glass of water can turn into a challenge. Kale provides one of the strongest defenses against this process. It is loaded with lutein and zeaxanthin, pigments that are naturally found in the macula itself. These act like built-in sunglasses inside your eyes, shielding the retina from harmful blue light and the constant attack of free radicals. Here's the key: your body cannot make lutein and zeaxanthin on its own. The only way to get them is through food, and kale happens to be one of the richest sources available. That said, eating kale raw isn't always the best approach. Raw kale contains certain compounds that can interfere with mineral absorption and cause digestive discomfort if eaten in large amounts. Light steaming or quick sautéing not only makes kale easier to digest, but also unlocks its valuable nutrients. Even after cooking, Kale still retains a good amount of vitamin C and vitamin K, which help keep blood flowing healthily to the eyes and support the strength of the tiny capillaries in the retina. I think of Marie Johnson, 79 years old, a retired librarian. She had already lost part of her central vision in one eye and was deeply worried it would spread. "I'm afraid one day I won't be able to see the faces of my loved ones," she told me. Together, we added a simple habit, about a quarter cup of lightly steamed kale with olive oil and a squeeze of lemon to her dinner, 3 to 4 times a week. The results weren't miraculous. What was lost couldn't come back, but the progression slowed, and even more importantly, Mrs. Johnson felt empowered. She wasn't just sitting back, waiting for her vision to fade. She was taking action to protect what remained, and that sense of control, that peace of mind, can mean more than anything. Now, let's move on to the fourth one, zucchini. Zucchini often gets treated as a side vegetable, soft, watery, and not very exciting. But when it comes to aging eyes, especially for those struggling with dryness, irritation, or fragile retinal tissue, zucchini turns out to be a quiet but powerful ally. One of the most overlooked causes of eye discomfort in later years is dehydration. As we age, the body loses moisture more easily. Tear production slows down, leaving eyes dry. And the tissues behind the eyes, the retina, the optic nerve, the macula, become more vulnerable to pressure, dryness, and oxidative stress. That's where zucchini steps in. Over 90% of zucchini is water, making it one of the most hydrating cooked vegetables you can eat. But it doesn't just hydrate, it also delivers a unique package of nutrients that support the retina. Vitamin C, a strong antioxidant that helps protect eye cells from damage caused by light and aging. It also supports the collagen structure in the cornea and blood vessels, keeping them flexible and strong. Manganese, a trace mineral that activates enzymes in the retina, aiding light processing and defending against free radicals. Lutein, while not as concentrated as in kale or broccoli, zucchini still provides a meaningful amount, and it's gentle on digestion, an advantage for older adults with sensitive stomachs. Because it's soft and mild, zucchini can be steamed, lightly sautéed, or added to soups, making it easy to include in dinner. That's a real benefit, since nighttime is when the body does most of its repair work, and zucchini provides gentle nourishment without weighing you down. I think of Tom Anderson, 81 years old. He had lived with chronic dry eye for years, and nights were the worst. Eye drops gave only temporary relief, and the burning sensation always came back. We added cooked zucchini to his dinner 4 nights a week, sautéed with olive oil, garlic, and a pinch of sea salt. Within just a few weeks, Mr. Anderson noticed a difference. His eyes felt less gritty. He no longer rubbed them before bed, and most importantly, his sleep improved. "Now I can finally close my eyes without that burning feeling," he told me. Zucchini can't reverse vision loss, but it helps create the right conditions for healing, hydrating the eyes, easing internal stress, and delivering gentle support to fragile tissues. Sometimes the softest, simplest foods are the ones that bring the greatest comfort. Now, let's move on to the last one, lentils. Lentils might seem humble at first glance, tiny legumes that usually show up in soups or salads. But when it comes to supporting aging eyes, lentils are among the most powerful plant-based foods you can add to your plate. What makes lentils so valuable is their rich supply of zinc and natural antioxidants. Zinc is an essential mineral that helps transport vitamin from the liver to the retina, where it creates the pigments your eyes need for vision, especially in low light. Without enough zinc, the eyes struggle to adjust to darkness, which is why many older adults find themselves squinting when reading at night or driving after sunset. Alongside zinc, lentils are packed with flavonoids, plant-based antioxidants that protect eye cells from damage caused by free radicals. This type of oxidative stress is one of the key drivers of age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, a condition that slowly steals away central vision, making reading, recognizing faces, or even watching television much harder. The beauty of lentils is how versatile and gentle they are. A warm bowl of lentil soup on a chilly evening, a lentil and vegetable salad, or a simple lentil stew, all are nourishing, easy to digest, and full of eye-protective nutrients. For many middle-aged adults, lentils are easier on the stomach compared to some other beans, which makes them an even more practical choice. I think of Susan Langley, 65 years old, a retired teacher who loved reading late at night. She often complained that her eyes grew tired quickly, and sometimes it felt like a haze had settled over the page. I suggested she start adding lentils to her meals, a bowl of lentil soup just a few times a week. 6 weeks later, Susan came back with a light in her eyes. She told me, "My eyes don't feel nearly as strained, and I can read my letters in the evening without squinting." Lentils aren't a miracle cure for vision loss, but they build a solid foundation. They provide zinc to keep visual processes strong, antioxidants to protect the retina, and they fit naturally into everyday meals. That makes them not just food for the body, but quiet support for the eyes as well. Sometimes, the simplest foods turn out to be the most powerful allies. With lentils, the real benefit comes not from dramatic results overnight, but from steady, consistent nourishment that helps preserve vision and comfort over time. Finally, let's bring these vegetables together into a simple evening recipe to nourish your eyes. By now, we've seen what each one offers: carrots to support night vision, broccoli to fight inflammation, kale to guard against macular degeneration, and zucchini to hydrate and soothe tired eyes. But here's the real beauty: they don't need to work alone. When combined in one simple dish, cooked gently at dinner time, they can form a gentle, healing recipe for aging eyes. This isn't some trendy detox or an overhyped superfood. It's a warm, comforting dish I've recommended to dozens of patients over the years, men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, and many of them have come back to tell me, "I never realized food could make my eyes feel this much better." Here's how you can make it. 1. Heat a small pot with a tablespoon of olive oil. 2. Add half a chopped zucchini and sauté until tender. 3. Stir in half a chopped carrot, cooking for another few minutes until it releases its natural sweetness. 4. Add a handful of broccoli florets and about 1/4 cup of chopped kale. 5. Pour in a few tablespoons of water or low-sodium broth. Cover and let everything steam together for about 5 minutes until the greens are just tender but still vibrant. 6. Season lightly with sea salt. For an extra boost, add a squeeze of lemon or a sprinkle of turmeric for anti-inflammatory support. What you'll have is a bowl that's warm, soft, easy to chew and digest, yet rich in exactly the nutrients your eyes crave, delivered right at night, when the body is entering its natural repair cycle. Some people blend it into a creamy soup. Others enjoy it as a side dish with whole grain bread or a scoop of brown rice. There's no perfect version. The real key is consistency. 3 to 4 evenings a week is enough to make a difference. At first, the results may feel subtle, less eye strain, a bit more clarity at night. But over time, these small shifts add up, quietly and steadily, like steady drops of water shaping stone. And beyond the nutrition itself, this meal becomes a ritual of care, a way of telling your body, "I'm still here, I'm still trying, I still want to keep my eyes strong." No expensive supplements, no miracle pills. Just real food, prepared the right way at the right time. And sometimes, that simple truth is the most powerful way to preserve your vision well into the years ahead. If you've stayed with me this far, you probably realize something important. Caring for our eyes doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require expensive medications or so-called miracle supplements. More often than not, the answer is right on our dinner plate, in the familiar vegetables we've known all our lives. Carrots, broccoli, kale, zucchini, and even humble lentils, when prepared with care, can become quiet allies that help preserve our vision. I've seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s find real changes in their daily lives simply by making these small adjustments. They could read the evening paper without squinting, drive more confidently after dark, and most importantly, feel that they were still in control of their lives. Aging is inevitable, but surrendering to decline is not. Protecting our vision means protecting our connection to the faces of loved ones, to the words in a cherished book, to the beauty of the world outside our window. Every meal is a chance to nourish not just the body, but the light in our eyes. If you found these insights helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Share a comment below. Tell me about your own experiences with eye health. Maybe it's a food you've added, a habit you've developed, or a small but meaningful change you've noticed. Your story might be exactly what inspires someone else to take that first step. And if you'd like to keep walking this journey together, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are many more conversations ahead, simple, practical, and heartfelt, about health, aging, and the little choices that help us live well. Always remember, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Care for them daily so that when you look in the mirror, you still see clarity and light. And when you look outward, you still see the world as vibrant as it has always